to the September vlog. I'm Liselle Sambury. I'm a young adult author. Trying to introduce myself more often, even in vlogs, because I'm like, that's probably a good idea. September has started off a little bit strange. Today I woke up with an overwhelming desire to do absolutely nothing. I don't know what I'm gonna do with that. I would like to do some work, so I don't think I can do that all day, but I think I will spend my morning reading. Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas, link below, came out yesterday, and so I started reading yesterday. I'm at 25%. I totally love it, and so I'm so excited to read the rest. What's a little synopsis of it? It's basically like Yadriel, he is a brujo, but his family won't kind of acknowledge that he is because he's trans, and so he's like seeking to prove himself, and he accidentally summons an incorrect spirit who is Julian, who is I already love so much, and then he has to like kind of help him figure out how he died and like all of that stuff. So it's super cool. I'm really loving it. Like the banter is so fun. I was laughing so much in my bed reading, and my boyfriend thought I was laughing at something that he was watching and laughing at, and I was like, I'm not laughing at what you're watching. What you're watching is not funny. I'm laughing at what I'm reading. Anyway, so it's really, really good. I'm reading it now, so I think I'll probably just spend my whole morning just reading it, and then hope that like by the afternoon I'm kind of in more of a mood to get work done. Right now I'm working on my haunted house book, so my horror. This is in my last vlog I was like, I'm pretty sure this is like the last edit. It's not, it wasn't. This is actually like probably the last edit, and I know that because my agent explicitly said so. She's like, I'm pretty sure this is the last edit and maybe like one more just to like catch any little things. So that'll be good. I just gotta get that done. It's actually not that many edits. It's just like a lot of little tweaks, and I spent the last like 2 days basically mapping out where I was gonna make all those tweaks and everything I was gonna do. And so I just have to actually do it. I've given myself like roughly 2 weeks to get it done. I don't think it'll take me that long, mind you. If I keep feeling like this, maybe it will. I don't think it'll take me that long though, so I just kind of gotta knock away at it. So I'm hoping I can do some work on that today. And then otherwise for the month, I'm going to be working on polishing my sequel to my debut, Blood Like Magic. I finally, after so long of being like, I don't know, I don't have a deadline, I finally was like, let me just ask my editor what is a rough idea of a deadline that she has so that I can organize myself, because I had no real idea when the deadline would be. And so I was like, let me just ask her. And reader, she told me the deadline, though it would depend on me, but could I do March 1st? And I looked at it and I was like, March 1st, 2021? As though I would go back in time. But so it's like a very generous timeline. That's so much more time that I think I need and that I thought I would be working with. So that's really great for me, because I already have the sequel written. I already wrote down all my revision notes. I just have to do my first self-edit, and then I was going to send it to my agent and some betas, and then I was going to edit it again. So this like gives me a lot of time to do that. So my plan is to, at the very like latest, have my edits done by the end of October so that I can send it to my agent and my betas and give them all of November and December to read. And then in January, I'll do all my edits, and then I can hand it into my editor in February. And then I have an extra month if I need it, but I don't think I will. And if my betas finish earlier, then I'll do stuff earlier. But the long and short of it is I'm very excited about this because it means for NaNoWriMo, I will be done edits on my horror, and I will be done edits on my sequel, presumably. And so I will have all of November to devote to NaNoWriMo and doing something brand new, which makes me really excited. And then, yeah, and then we'll see kind of how it goes from there. But that's really exciting to me. I think it's so weird for me because before I had like started doing edits with my editor, so many like authors had talked about like being on deadline and oh my gosh, deadline. And so I had felt really panicked about it, but all of my deadlines have been so reasonable and generous. Like I haven't had any stress about them, which has been really nice. Even when I was still working my full-time job, they were like very doable still to me. So yeah. So I'm just gonna read today. I don't know, I'm gonna read in the morning. I'm gonna try and do work later. So we'll see. Tell you of my struggle. So I'm doing my edits for my haunted house book. This is like my agent even said, she's like, I'm pretty sure this is like the last round of edits, maybe like one more for like just kind of tweaking and that sort of thing. But essentially I came up against this block, which is like the rules of the house. And I've been reading this craft book. It's called On Writing and World Building Volume 1. I'm actually going to do a whole like craft book review about it because this is the first like world building and like sort of fantasy sci-fi specific craft book I've ever read. So I'm going to do a whole review on it. By the time this vlog posts, I might have already done it. So like if I have, I'll post it over here. I should have based on my schedule. Anyway. So what was I getting at? Yes, the rules of my haunted house book. So I realized what I was doing is I was doing a very hard magic system. So it had a lot of specific rules and it was very like it was so just like my fantasy mind and like how I write fantasy. And I think for a long time I've been categorizing this book as a contemporary fantasy horror. I think because at the time I started writing it, horror in young adult hadn't really like assessed it hadn't really like come out as much. Like it felt like I had to pull it to fantasy in order to kind of market it. But now I think horror has really started to stand out as its own genre in young adult, and I think especially with like the rise of certain books like I'm trying to think of ones off the top of my head, but like Mexican Gothic comes to mind, you know, like I feel like, and that's an adult book, that's not even a young adult book, but I feel like there's been this sort of rise of horror as a genre, like this resurgence, and so it can really stand on its own. And I think that's the way I ended up writing the book. But then when it came to the world building of how the house worked and those mechanics, for whatever reason, because I had to answer questions about it, I kept doing these kind of complicated, very rule-based, hard magic system, when actually it needs a soft magic system. So the book goes into the descriptions of these, but essentially like hard magic systems have very distinct rules governing how the magic works. And a soft magic system has sort of less defined rules. It's a little bit, softer, I guess is the way to think of it. And so I ended up like writing this gigantic email to my agent to be like, okay, scrap how I've done the rules of the haunted house before. This I think is how it should actually work. And she just got back to me today and she agreed that like she thinks a soft magic system works better, and it really does fit better with the tone of the story, because even though I was calling it contemporary fantasy horror, I was just really writing it as straight horror. Like I understood that it was straight horror before I had even actually finished writing it. And so that was kind of like my struggle. I'm like 3 days into my revisions for my horror, and I haven't done any revisions yet. I've been spending all this time like thinking and ruminating and like deciding what I'm going to do and how I'm going to put together these revisions. And that was kind of the last big chunk of it. And so my agent really helped me with that. I always, I don't know if this is just because I have a more editorial agent or not, but I always kind of like, when I'm doing revisions, I'll throw like ideas at Christy to see what she thinks before I like go ahead and put it in. And so I can kind of get that buy-in before I start doing the actual edits. But yeah, so that was my struggle all day yesterday. I spent like 2 hours basically like pinning down how this haunted house was gonna work. Anyway, this is the punishment for me not planning my world building in advance, because I pants my world building, and this is like my punishment. This is the last time I will write a book without planning my world building in advance. That is the reason why I read that craft book, so that I could have help doing this, and it's actually been really helpful. I can't wait to do my like full review on it. But yeah, so that was like my struggle. So I'm like 3, maybe 4 days into like my official revision time, and I have not actually revised anything. So that was my struggle, but the struggle is hopefully over now. Also, something exciting for the Avengers of Color mentorship, which I'm participating in. I chose my mentor today. It wasn't announced, but I just put it in our little spreadsheet. And I'm really excited about it, and I'm excited about working with them. So by this time, I think it'll be revealed, so I'll just go ahead. They're doing a Sci-Fi project, which is really exciting. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Hello, today was a difficult day. I'm still working on editing my horror, and I think I'm almost-ish done. I'm at Bad Guys Close In now. My screen's over there with all my stuff, but today I really did not want to work. Yesterday I took yesterday off because we're going to be going to Toronto for a week, and our car is in the shop, and I had to get a rental, and then I took a cab to the rental place, and then it was the wrong rental place location, and then I had to take a cab to the right place, and then it was it was just a whole ordeal, and I was so tired, and I was like, I cannot write right now. It's like my brain is too shattered from having to deal with all of that crap. So I didn't, and I took yesterday off. And then today I was really not feeling like doing it, but I was I don't have a good reason for not doing it. I probably can work up myself to doing it. I'm just kind of being lazy. And so that's the fine balance. I always try and understand when I need a break and when I'm just being lazy. So I hopped on and I did my work. This past the midpoint to the Bad Guys Close In is where I had to do the most work. So then it did take me a while to get through all of this today. I did actually do work. But it took a while because this was where I had to do the biggest bulk of changes, in that I really had to switch around all of the kind of lore I had presented about the house, since I changed all of that. I also kind of tweaked something in a way that I hadn't already discussed with my agent, so I guess we'll see how that goes over. But it's a weird edit because it is it's not nitpicky, but it is a lot of very small changes. And if we do one more edit, I think it's going to be very similar. And I just those are the most painful edits for me. Not last week, but whenever I did my last horror edit, it was more changes, but I did them faster somehow. But I think now that it's gotten more tweaking, it's somehow taking me longer, even though it is less work. And I think that's just my difficulty. I have trouble with when it's going to be quite small changes. But anyway, it's worth it. We're trying to make it as perfect as possible. So yeah, and then the next time you see me, I will be in Toronto. I have a doctor's appointment, so we figured we would just go down for the week, and then I can get all my stuff sorted. So yeah. Toronto. So we went to Toronto for a week because I had a doctor's appointment down there. So then we just decided to stay for the week, and I finished editing my horror and I sent it off to my agent. I feel like I did that like 3 days ago. I'm not 100% sure on what day I did it, but not that long ago at all. I finished my edits. It is so difficult. Like, the more I get to the end of the process, the more that I start to like second guess everything, and I'm like, did I fix it right? Did I do it? I don't know. But anyway, my agent will let me know in her notes whether things have been successful or not. I got these, came in. I ordered a set of Micron pens for inking stuff. What will I be inking? I do not yet know, or for detail on like Posca pieces maybe. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with it. I'd like to kind of figure out, like, experiment with styles for like drawing, and then doing some watercolor and like some inking and like maybe some color pencil stuff, and like figure something out for that. It would be really nice. I would be really, really happy if my skills got to the point where I could like send a piece of like art I drew related to my book to someone and not feel horribly embarrassed about it. So that's what I've been doing. I've also started thinking a lot about like book swag and that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure if I do a pre-order campaign, it's gonna be like most of it, or like I'll have a digital component where like everybody will get like some digital stuff, and then I'll have like grand prize winners, like a few of those that'll actually get like physical things. And so I was thinking about those also because I'm like hope upon hope that it is safe when my book comes out to be around people. And so I would like to have some like swag stuff that I could give out to people at events, or at the very least swag stuff that I could maybe like send to some bookstagrammers or booktubers or bloggers or whatever. Excuse me. And so I was kind of thinking about those and like looking at pricing and looking at different manufacturers and that sort of thing. Ends up being the difficulty of being like an international author. I say international because I'm just from Canada. I'm very close to the US, but there are so many differences between like US manufacturers and Canadian manufacturers, and especially because the US dollar is stronger than ours, so then everything ends up being more expensive. And so I really try and get stuff locally from Canada, and so it's just kind of finding out how I'm going to do that. I've also started ordering a bunch of samples from all sorts of suppliers. So I got samples from Vistaprint and a sticker place in Toronto called Sticker U. I actually have used them in the past, but I don't know where my sticker sample is, so I ordered another one. And then who else did I get samples from? Moo, I got samples from. They're another printer. I already have samples from Jukebox. So I'm just trying to get all those in to like decide who I want to print stuff with. I know a lot of people use Vistaprint, but I don't know if I like their printing quality that much. But anyway, I'll see who I end up going with. I have printed my own business cards with Moo that are kind of useless at this point. But anyway, I felt like I needed business cards, so that's what happened. I was in person a lot more at that time, and so the business cards did in fact make sense. Now they make less sense. But anyway, I've been doing that. My ivy plant officially died, but that's okay. R.I.P. Ivy. My grandma told me that ivy has a hard time growing inside, and so I'm going to believe her because it makes me feel better about myself. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try and like do some sketching today while I like watch some videos. And then at 4 o'clock today, I'll be on Alexa Dunn's channel. We're with some other writers like Kevin from Kevin the Writer, and Laura from Laura Writes, and Lindsay Puckett, and Lainey from I believe her channel, the whole name is Ginger Reads Lainey. That sounds correct. Yes. So yeah, we're gonna be doing that, and I'm gonna start working on my sequel, so working on editing it today, because we're also gonna be doing some writing sprints, so I'm gonna start doing that today. And yeah, I have product in my hair because I just washed it. That's it. That's the update. Oh, I have my heated blanket because I went to my old work to drop off They're my work laptop that I had when I thought I was going to be working from home and was not laid off. And then also to get my stuff that I had there. One of the things I had at my office was this heated blanket. It was illegal. I was not supposed to have a heated blanket, nor was I supposed to plug it in at my desk. I was explicitly told not to do this, and I decided to do it anyway. Yeah, rebel. Hello, you have a view of my pantry. I wish I could have a better view, but I don't. Today has been a bit of a out of the ordinary day. So the Avengers of Color mentorship, which I am a part of, I'm participating as a mentor. We announced all our mentees today, and so I did that. So I announced my mentee, and that'll be working with them. And they have like a sci-fi. I realize now, like, I've had 3 mentees and 2 of them have been sci-fi. So yeah, I'm going to be working with them on that, and that's really exciting. I think they have a fantastic story, and I'm really excited to help out. And then my other mentees, I sent them, well, not my, oh my god, Liselle. The other 2 people that I requested materials from, I emailed them just to give them a bit of feedback since I requested materials from them. Last year, I decided that I was going to email every single person who submitted to me feedback because, you know, when I was doing pitch events and stuff like that, oh, my arm is so weak. When I was doing pitch events and stuff like that, and not pitch events, just like events, and like mentors would send me feedback, like that was so invaluable to me. So I thought I'll send it so that everybody gets feedback. And I worked on this. I must have sent like 50 emails or something ridiculous like that. And a bunch of people didn't even reply to me. So I was just like, I couldn't tell if it had actually been useful for them or if they had gotten anything out of it, because so many people just like hadn't. I think maybe like 5 people replied to the email to be like, thanks for the feedback. So then I couldn't actually tell how many people it was useful for. And so then it started to feel a bit futile on my part to go through all that effort if I wasn't sure that people were actually looking at it and gaining anything from it. And so I decided not to bother with that this year. So I only emailed people I requested more pages from, which I think was the right move. And so what else am I doing today? Oh, I finished editing my horror. Did I tell you that? I think I did. So I've been working on editing my sequel, which is going along pretty swimmingly. I've been editing 2 chapters a day. I'm past the first act already. I'm in the second act. Yesterday, I just like felt, I don't know, yesterday was a day. So yesterday I did writing sprints with a friend. And so that was good. So I got 1 chapter edited, and I had started the second chapter. Excuse me, but then me and my boyfriend were supposed to do a bunch of chores, but then he wasn't feeling very well, and so then he wasn't able to do that, and so then I ended up like just like doing a bunch of cleaning stuff, and I ended up like cleaning our entire fridge because it was like super nasty, and like throwing out all this like old food, and then I washed all the dishes, and then I did all that stuff, and then I had to go to the grocery store, and like pandemic shopping is like, I don't know, I hate grocery shopping the most during this time because I just like end up going alone like every single time anyway. And it is a lot of work for me, and I was just like tired, and so I just like couldn't be bothered to do anything, and so I didn't go back to doing that chapter. So I only did 1 chapter yesterday when I was supposed to do 2, and today Kevin and Laura are doing their Thirsty Thursday write in, so I'm going to participate in that later. And I'm just going to do 2 chapters like I had set myself to do for the day. I'm not going to try and backtrack and like do 3 or like anything like that. So right now my day is kind of open. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I kind of want to do some art stuff, but I also kind of want to do like nothing. I don't really know. I sat down at my desk, and after I had done all the mentee like organizing stuff, I legitimately couldn't remember what I had planned to do in the morning. And I don't know that I did have a plan of things to do in the morning. So I started reading When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole. So that's like, it's like a, what's the word, gentrification horror book. And so, and I've never read anything by Alyssa Cole because I don't usually read romance, and that's like most of their stuff to my knowledge. So I don't know, I guess maybe I'll just like watch that, or I'll like watch a movie. I don't know what I'm gonna do with my time, but I just like feel this whole week I just feel extremely unmotivated and unproductive, and I don't really want to do anything at all. So I don't know, I gotta do that, and then at some point I need to go back through my mentees' materials. I will do that for sure, and like give them all their feedback. So that's gonna happen at some point too. So yeah, that's kind of my week. What else happened? I've been working on some secret cover stuff. Not me making my cover, just secret cover reveal stuff. And that's like going all right. This is something. I got content warnings in my book. So my lovely friend and editor sibling, Ashley Shuttleworth, their book, A Dark and Hollow Star, comes out in 2021. I can't remember the date. I think it's February. I think it's March. I'm not sure. I'm going to put it below. But check out their book because it's awesome. It's set in Toronto. It's got like fairies. It's fantastic. And Ashley is a lovely person. So anyway, Ashley told me that they were able to put in content warnings, and I was like, oh, because I'd kind of been wondering about that, but there seemed to be this discourse going around that it was incredibly hard to get your publisher to put content warnings inside the book itself, that publishers didn't want to do that, and that it was going to be really hard, and that you had to like just put it on your own website. And there are some things in my book that I really wanted content warnings for, but I hadn't really gotten around to asking yet because I think I just assumed it was going to be some sort of fight, and so I was just like preparing myself. But then when Ashley told me they got content warnings, I was like, oh cool. And then I emailed my editor and I was like, can I put in content warnings? And my editor was 100% like, sure, absolutely, if that's what you want to do, like 100% just send me and we'll put in the content warnings. So I was able to send that to my editor, and now I'll have content warnings in my book. It is important to me to have that, especially because in my book there are some things that I really want people to be prepared for. There is a scene in which my main character is essentially witnessing her slave ancestor get whipped, and that's something I really want people to know going into it. I don't want people to be like completely thrown off by that, and I don't want it to be like this sort of thing where like someone was completely unprepared. I want people to know that going forward and be able to prepare themselves. There's also like other things in the book, like there's a character who has substance abuse issues, there's a character who has an eating disorder, so I want people to be prepared for that. There's of course death, there's gore, and there's police violence, and so these are all of the things that I want people to be prepared for and to know going in. And so I think that's really important to say that up front. Because if you don't, why do you need to shock people when people could just know and like not be triggered if they don't want to be triggered or be prepared? That's my feeling about it. I think content warnings are important and necessary, and so I'm really excited that I got to put them in, and now people will know. So yeah. My hair is messy. I'm sorry. I didn't expect to be filming anything, but just kind of checking in. I just feel like this whole week I've felt so unmotivated in every single way. I just like wake up and I don't really want to do anything, and I kind of crawl out of bed. I've like ceased exercising entirely. I was supposed to drop down to like 3 days a week, and I just like can't be bothered to do it at all. I don't know. I just like don't feel like doing anything. Because I'm a productivity hoe, I am still doing things because I don't know, it's just like my natural inclination. Like I'm still getting my edits done, but it's just like, I don't know, because I feel so unmotivated. It feels like I'm kind of not actually getting anything done, even though I am. And so like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird time for me. I don't really know particularly why I'm motivated, with the exception of, you know, having a monthly time in which I'm generally more all over the place than I would be normally. That's really the only kind of thing I can point to. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just don't feel like doing much. And so mostly I like do my little writing stuff, and then I just kind of like flop around in between. I've been watching some YouTube videos, but I've kind of run down on those. And I watched a couple movies, and I was reading, but I've also kind of like all over the place with that. So I don't know, this has been kind of a weird wash of a week. Part of me does wonder if it's because I'm like, I know my agent is reading my horror, and I know that once she's done, then we'll be on like the final edit of it, and then it'll get to like go on submission or be shown to my publisher and stuff. And I think I'm just so impatient and antsy about it, and it's like taking up a lot of mental space. And so I'm just like, I can't actually do anything about it, like, because she's reading. So I can't edit if she's still reading it. And so it's like my brain wants to be in limbo and just do nothing and just like agonize over it. But I do actually have other stuff to get done. And so it's very strange. I don't know. And so that's kind of how things are going for me. I don't know. I also had like a brief panic where I was like, I need to apply to jobs and I need to like get a job. I'm like, I can't just like, I was like, I need to have a full-time job. Just like money panic, because I was like, you know, I have certain like goals for my future. You know, I kind of would like to be able to get, you know, like a place further down south than we are right now, and you know, all the accoutrements of like traditional adult family forming. You know, weddings cost money. If you want to have children, that costs money. And I'm just like in a panic of like, do I have that much? And so I like applied to jobs, but then it's all like very depressing applying to jobs because it's completely fruitless because no one ever contacts me. This is the most trouble I've ever had finding a job in my entire life. And yeah, so that's like its own struggle. So I did that. And then I suddenly panicked and I was like, maybe I need to like start a sticker business or something. And then I was like, oh, I just need to like rapidly become better at art. And I was like, that's not going to suddenly happen. So I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm feeling all weird, because I'm suddenly panicking about a bunch of stuff that I like can't really affect. And like, this is a very strange time, and there's a bunch of things that I'm just not going to be able to control. And maybe it's just the control freak in me. And it's like, well, if you can't control anything, then just like don't do anything. Just like lay in bed all day and do nothing. But of course I don't do that. I get up, and I gotta do some work. I'm also heavily motivated by food, and I'm like, well, I'll get up and eventually I'll be able to eat breakfast. Yeah, so I don't know. It's been like a very, very strange week for me. And so I check in about, I'm not crying. My eyes just like water all the time. I like realized as I wiped that I was like, are people gonna think I'm crying? I'm not crying. Oh my gosh, remember the last video where I said I'm not crying and then I had to film a separate clip because right after I burst into tears? Anyway, that's not the situation here. I'm not crying. cannot remember the last time I updated, but I like look nice because I was filming a video, and that's why I'm in my filming a video little background over here. Yeah, it was exciting. It was an exciting and secret video that I was filming. I don't think the sequel will be revealed by the time this video goes out, so it remains a secret, but it should be a secret revealed in October unless things change, but that should be happening then, and I'm very excited about it. What did I come to update about? Oh, right, what am I doing with my life? Yeah, I've been working today. I drew and I did a watercolor. I did some like character portraits of my main character and the love interest in Blood Like Magic, my debut. So yeah, that was really cool. I'm really excited about kind of doing my own art for this. I wanted to, but I wasn't sure that like my skills would be up to par soon enough, but I'm actually happy with how my portraits came out. I do not know what I'm going to do pre-order wise. I keep going back and forth on it because I want to do like a pre-order campaign that like can be international. So I was like just gonna do a digital only, but then I was like, oh, I kind of want to print stuff, but then like mailing stuff from Canada is so expensive. It's weirdly cheaper to mail stuff to the US than it is to like mail stuff within Canada, which is ridiculous, but like so classic for Canada Post and like our mailing system. And who knows what's happening with the mailing system in the US. So I just like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I don't know what will be affordable, because I also don't want to like break the bank doing a pre-order campaign and like super stress myself out, especially because I know I would have to send all that stuff out like super close to like when my book is debuting, and I'm just like, do I need all of that extra stress? And like, so I like have no idea what I'm doing, but I got these portraits done. And I'm gonna do something with the portraits. I basically like took a picture of them with my iPad and like cleaned them up in Photoshop, and honestly they look so nice. I'm shocked that I was able to do this, because I thought I was gonna have to buy like an expensive scanner, and I was like, why am I gonna buy an expensive scanner to do this one thing? So I don't have to do that, so that's really nice. I've been like all over the place. I feel like I seem on YouTube like quite put together because I like hit my deadlines and I like get my projects done. So it's like, wow, Liselle is like so organized and like on top of it. But like sometimes I feel very chaotic. I did a little bit of edits on my sequel today. I'm starting to descend back into second book syndrome, where I'm like, is this... it's not that I think the book is bad. I actually think it's quite good. But I'm like, is it as good as the first one? Does it have the same range? And I don't friggin' know. So I don't know what I'm going to do with that. And I'm waiting for my agent to get back to me with edits on my horror. And I'm starting to like get so in my head about it. And I'm like, oh, what if she gives it back to me and we have like a million edits to do and like it's nowhere near being finished, even though this edit is meant to be the final edit. And then I'm like, oh, I just want to like go on sub, and I want to go on sub in October because then like it's a horror and spooky vibes, and I'm so like desperate. And then in my last vlog, I'm like, link it over here, I talked about like how I was trying to think of ideas for a second book and like what I was gonna do with that. And I had thought up this whole idea for a second book. I like wrote a synopsis, I wrote a pitch letter, I wrote the first 3 chapters, and now I just like think I've thrown it out the window and I don't even know what I'm gonna do. I'm going to talk about like body image, diet culture stuff right now. So if that's triggering for you, just skip right over this. But essentially, like the other horror idea I had, it was going to take place at a fat camp, and I was like gonna like deconstruct all these ideas about body image and like diet culture, like building from my own experience as like a teen and a child, and that sort of thing. If you watched my Authortube Newbie Tag, I did talk about like how I got into writing in the first place, which was that I was a fat kid. Nothing wrong with that, but I was a fat kid and I was bullied for it, and so I wrote kind of as an escapism, and I kind of wanted to unpack that whole thing. And then like I wrote out all those pages and I just think about it, and it's like, I don't know that I'm actually ready to do that because I continue to struggle with my body image. I've done a lot of like yo-yo dieting in the past. I've done a restrictive eating. I've been like up and down. I've done over-exercising. Like I've done all sorts of things. And now like my body has changed like significantly. I'm at the heaviest weight I've ever been. I don't weigh myself anymore, which is like part of like good progress for me because it doesn't help me. It just makes me feel bad about myself. But I can tell that I am at the heaviest weight I've ever been. And I think it's hard for people to tell on video because the way my body is, like, I know like I have like collarbones and stuff because my upper body is like just naturally always been like that. Like it's actually very hard for me to get to a weight in which my collarbones don't show in some way, but like my body otherwise is like very different. And like, yeah, it's just like run the gambit. And I wanted to do this book and I wanted to unpack all of that and I wanted to like talk about that and like do something like positive for teens, but I like still kind of am not as nice to myself about my body as I should be. And that's not to say that I don't think people at different stages in like their journey can't write about it. I just think for me, like, I don't know, I like low-key feel like I make myself feel bad writing about it because I haven't figured my shit out and I like still struggle all over the place. And I just like, I was like, I don't think I can write that book right now. I don't think I can write that book 2 years from now. I don't think I can write it for a while. So then I was like, oh man, what am I going to do for my second book in horror and like going on sub? And I did actually think of an idea. I had an idea a while back for an adult horror and I was like, oh, I can actually adapt that to young adult and I can make it work, whatever. But I'm just like, Liselle, so you wrote like, how many words is that? You wrote like 10,000 words. You got a pitch letter, you got a synopsis, and you've already thrown it out. And so, like, these are the things I'm done talking about body issues and stuff. Time stamp. But, like, that was just a sort of thing where I was like, these are the things that make me feel messy and disorganized because I feel like I'm all over the place. And it's very common for me to like start projects and then just like drop projects, especially because I write fast. And so like I've written like my middle grade, I wrote that whole book, I revised it several times and I've just like dropped it because this is how I am. So these are the things where like in my brain and in my mind and in my life, I'm like, you are living the messiest. But I feel like it does not translate to screen because I just like continue to get things done anyway. What else is going on in my life? I applied for a part-time job. I actually got an interview. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. I'm in this like weird limbo now where I like very much want to just write full time, but like I'm starting to feel that creeping pressure of finances. And I'm like, I kind of feel like I need to do something, even though I'm getting government support. And like, if there was any time that I had time to like not freak out, it would be this. So I don't really know. We'll see how that goes. It's cool. It's like for like a garden company and like that sort of thing. So I think that would be cool. But yeah, I just don't really know. We'll see what I will do. I've also started like getting into the idea where I like kind of think I would want to start a little business, like a creative business, because I'm so obsessed with studio vlogs and I'm like, maybe I do want to do a sticker thing, but I don't think my art is really to that level right now. I don't know. I just don't know what I could make that would be like sellable. And then I'm like, why do I need to turn every creative pursuit I have into a job? I was like, you don't necessarily need to do that. But I think I'm just trying to think of things that I like that I would want to do work-wise instead of like smushing myself into something that I may not necessarily like just because I feel financial pressure. But I don't know. This was my update. This was very long. I'm very hot in this sweater now and the sun has come up and I'm like baking. So I think I'm gonna cut it off here. Also, my camera is dying, but I will update you on stuff at a later date. I literally just only now realized it's basically the end of September, and I was like, right, I can wrap up the vlog now. So I'm gonna wrap up the vlog now. Oh yeah, it's been a month. I'm not quite done editing my sequel, which was my goal for the end of the month, but I still have, what is it, the 27th? 27th. I still have like 28th, 29th. I only need 2 more days left to edit, so I'm gonna finish before the end of the month. I just haven't finished before the end of the vlog, but I will. And if anything goes wacky and I don't, then I guess I'll put it in the October Preptober vlog. This month has kind of been a bit wild for me, as like, this is my month reflection. It's been a bit wild for me. I was doing really well editing my sequel, and then I like hit midpoint, and my midpoint is where I really started to kind of have to deviate from my synopsis because I discovered some like plot hole things. And it's just been like such a slog since then. I've been in so much pain doing it. I don't know why. I just like, I can't. I don't know. I just like, I have no motivation. And it's not because I suddenly think the story is like crap, though there are some things about the story I'm a little bit worried about. But it's just like, I don't know. I'm just like tired. I'm tired of editing. I'm like, oh, I'm done with this. And I think I've just been so distracted, as I talked about before, about like going on sub and that sort of thing. But I'm not going to turtle on forever. But I think something I've thought about, like, I guess as my September reflection, it's just like sometimes some projects will take longer than others. Some projects I really like can keep that momentum going when I'm editing. For some, it's like I'm in so much pain. I feel like I'm having a much easier time editing my horror, even though I've edited it more. I think because it's so close to like submission and like all this other stuff, versus like editing my sequel, even though this is the first time I'm editing and I shouldn't already be tired of editing it. I think it's just like, I don't know, it's a similar story, and I think my brain just wants to do something different. And so I think maybe that's my thing with it. So I think after I finish and I'm able to give it to my agent and beta readers and have some time away from it, I'm going to be much better when I come back through. I wonder if part of the problem is also I had recently already reread it, and now I was just like rereading it again but doing the edits. I don't know. Anyway, so that's my thing for September. And so I talk about this because I feel like, because I get a lot of stuff done, I like feel like there's this feeling that it's like really simple for me, but I do struggle through it. I just like get it done anyway because I'm wild with myself. So that was September. I'm really excited for Preptober and all the stuff coming in October and coming with NaNoWriMo. I'm really excited that I'll be working on something new for NaNoWriMo. Will that video have gone out? Yes, I would have already done a video talking about this, so you could check it out over there. So yeah, that's the end of the September vlog. How did your September go? Comment below to say how it went. Are you going to be doing Preptober / NaNoWriMo? Also comment to share that. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!